We're heading to the weekend, but before we do, let's check out our top stories right here on the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, and our Israel Brief family from all around the world. Thank you guys for all the wonderful messages that you send on a daily basis, and thank you for the blessings. A lot of you are praying for our soldiers, praying for our hostages. It is day 237 of Israel's war with Hamas, which started on October the 7th. And this means that our 125 hostages have been sitting in hell for at least 237 days. There are many celebrities with a campaign saying all eyes on Rafah. We'll keep those eyes on Rafah, keep those eyes peeled for our hostages. Let's take a look at those top stories. And last night, the IDF confirmed that they had taken the Philadelphi corridor. Now, this is a very strategic passage. It is about 8.7 miles long between Gaza and the Egyptian border. The IDF had noted that they had discovered about 20 tunnels and were investigating and neutralizing them. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari is the IDF's chief spokesperson, and in his press conference, he said that the Philadelphi corridor is Hamas's lifeline. He also noted that the IDF had found dozens of rocket launchers and rocket launching pits to fire rockets from the south of the Gaza Strip around the Rafah area towards Israeli civilian centers. We can't forget that earlier this week a massive barrage was fired towards the center of Israel for the first time in 6 months. But rockets, drones, anti-tank missiles and mortars are continuously fired both in the south of the country and in the north of the country. The Rear Admiral also said that Hamas is in Rafah. They are holding our hostages in Rafah, and that is why the IDF is operating in Rafah. Yesterday, Brazil announced that they are withdrawing their ambassador to Israel. Now, this follows a lot of tension between Israel and Brazil over Israel's military action in Gaza. There have been some very, very strong exchanges of words between the Brazilian President Lula Silva and Israeli officials as well. Earlier this year, Silva compared Israel's military action in Gaza to the Holocaust. The notice was gazetted in the government gazette. The United Nations will meet today for a meeting to honor the former Iranian president, Ebrahim Raisi, who was killed in a helicopter crash on the 19th of May, along with his country's foreign minister and several dignitaries from Azerbaijan. Raisi, who was the sitting president of Iran at the time and who was known as the Butcher of Tehran for the horrific way that he treated the people of Iran, and also the world's biggest sponsor of terror, was laid to rest last week. And the United Nations traditionally gathers to meet for these kind of tributes every time a leader dies. Now, the United States have said that they will boycott today's meeting, saying that we will not be represented there in any way, shape or form. And as you can imagine, Israel will not be participating either. And finally, earlier this week, Ireland, Norway and Spain officially recognized a state of Palestine. Well, earlier today, Australia voted overwhelmingly 80-5 that they will not be recognizing a Palestinian state. The motion that was tabled by the far-left Green Party was roundly defeated, and to quote one Liberal Party MP, Julian Lesser, who said that to recognize a Palestinian state without the negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians is contrary to the traditions of Australia's foreign policy. Other MPs also criticized the move. Now, there are other countries who have taken the same path as Australia. Denmark, earlier this week's parliament, also voting, saying that the situation on the ground is not suitable to recognize a Palestinian state. France as well saying that, they would be happy to recognize a Palestinian state, but the conditions are not right and they need to see major reforms from the Palestinian Authority, and they have said this to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. We can't forget that Abbas is in the 19th year of his 4-year term. And finally, it is that time of the day where we take a look at the audience question. And this comes from Carolyn Goshen via Facebook. And Carolyn asks, why haven't Hamas been taken to the ICJ for the atrocities of October the 7th? Excellent question. So the answer is pretty simple. The ICJ, or International Court of Justice, is seen as the world court, and you have to be a member state to be a part of it. Now, Hamas is not a member. They are what we call a non-state actor. In their case, they are a terrorist organization. So effectively, they can't be tried by the International Court of Justice. However, we do remember that the court did demand the unconditional and immediate release of the hostages, which Hamas has not complied with. And then you get the ICC, the International Criminal Court, which is a criminal court. And what is interesting is that last week, when the chief prosecutor announced that they would be seeking arrest warrants for, amongst others, Sinwar, Mashal and Muhammad al-Def from Hamas, they also noted a state of Palestine. So that will be very interesting to see, first of all, whether or not warrants of arrest are in fact issued, and second of all, if they recognize jurisdiction over a state of Palestine, and if they recognize jurisdiction over Hamas. In the meantime, many Hamas terrorists have been arrested and will stand trial in Israel for their crimes against humanity that include rape, torture, mutilation, murder, and kidnapping. So those are top stories before we head into the weekend. If, like me, you are exhausted, you deserve a really, really well-deserved break this weekend. And if you want to check out our content, please do so on our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at @LotLsat. Like, share, subscribe, pop a question there. Our YouTube channel is at The Israel Brief. Click on that red subscribe button to subscribe. And of course, pop your question there as well. And we are on X at @LayofTheland5. I'm Really Marks. Guys, I'm exhausted. I'm sure you are too. I wish you a wonderful weekend, a peaceful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. Take care of yourselves and each other. You guys know I'm crazy about you, and I will see you on Monday. Bye for now.